Okay, so today we have stories of Behlool, who is called as Behlool Dana. There is something short about Behlool. Behlool was born in Kufa and his real name is Wahab bin Amr. Some of the holy Imams, Imam Moosa Kazim Alaihis' companions and special friends came to him because the Khalifa Haroon Rashid was angry with them and asked him for advice. The Imam answered with the sole letter Jim. All of them understood that was it and asked no further questions.
Each person understood the holy Imam's advice in his own different way. One person took Jeen to mean Jalal Watan, exile. Another thought of Jabal, mountain. Behlool took it to be Jinun, insanity. This is how all of the Imam's companions were saved from calamity.
Before becoming insane, Behlool lived a life of influence and power because he was first cousin of Haroon Rashid. But after obeying the Imam's order, he turned his face away from the majesty and splendor of the world. In reality, he became crazy over Allah. He dressed in rags, preferred desolate places over Haroon's places, lived on a bite of stale bread. He did not accept favors from or depend upon Haroon or those like him. Behlool considered himself better than the Khalifa and his courtiers because of his way of life.
Behlool became insane at the Imam's command for the love of Ahlebait, so he would enforce the rights of which they had been wronged. There was no other way for Behlool to protect his life. For example, Haroon told his advisor Yahya bin Khalid Barmaki that listening to the words of Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam's student, Hisham bin Hikam, who proved Imam Moosa Kazim Alaihis' imamat, was more dangerous to him than 100,000 swords. Haroon said, "Even then it amazes me that Hisham is alive and I am in power."
Behlool's conversation with Abu Hanifa. One day, Abu Hanifa was teaching at the college. Behlool was sitting in a corner listening to Abu Hanifa's lesson. In the middle of his lesson, Abu Hanifa said that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says three things that I do not agree. These are, firstly, he says, Shaitan will be punished in the hellfire. Since Shaitan is made of fire, and how is it possible that fire can hurt him? One kind of thing cannot get hurt from the same kind of thing.
Secondly, he says that we can't see Allah, but something that is present must also be able to be seen. Therefore, Allah can be seen by our eyes. Thirdly, he says that whoever does something is himself responsible for it, and will be questioned about it because he did it himself, but evidence is against this, meaning whatever a person does is done by Allah, and the person has no control over what he does.
As soon as Abu Hanifa said this, Behlool picked up a clod of stone and threw it at him. It hit his forehead and gave him severe pain. Then Behlool ran away. Abu Hanifa's students ran after him and caught him. Since Behlool was related to Khalifa, they took him to Khalifa and narrated the whole incident.
Behlool said, "Call Abu Hanifa so that I can give him my answer." Abu Hanifa was called, and Behlool said to him, "What wrong have I done to you?" He said, "You hit my forehead with a clod of earth. My forehead and head are in severe pain." Behlool said, "Can you show me your pain?" And he replied, "Can pain be seen?"
Behlool replied, "You yourself say that every present thing can be seen, and you criticize Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam by saying, how is it possible that Allah is present but invisible? Secondly, you wrongly claim that the clod of earth pains your head because the clod of earth is made of mud and you were also created from mud. Then how can one thing hurt the same type of substance? Thirdly, you yourself said that all acts are done by Allah. Then how can you say that I am guilty? Present me to the Khalifa, complain about me and demand punishment for me." Abu Hanifa listened to Behlool's intelligent answers and shamefully left the court.
Behlool and the Khalifa's food. It is said that Haroon Rashid sent some food to Behlool. His servant brought the food to Behlool, put it in front of him, and said, This is the Khalifa's special food. He has sent it to you to eat. Baloo placed the food in front of the dog that was sitting in the ruins of the place. The servant screamed, "Why did you give the Khalifa's food to that dog?" Baloo said, "Be quiet. If the dog hears that the Khalifa sent this food, it won't eat it either."
Behlool sits on Haroon Rashid's throne. One day Behlool arrived at Haroon's place and saw that throne was empty. There was no one to stop him. So he sat fearlessly and went and sat in Haroon's place. When the court slaves saw this, they immediately started whipping him and took him off the throne. Behlool started crying. Haroon came and saw this. He asked those nearby why Behlool was crying. A slave told him the whole story. Haroon scolded them and tried to cheer Behlool up.
Baloo said he wasn't crying at his condition, but at Haroon's condition. "I sat on the seat of the Khalifa wrongfully for a few seconds, and received such a beating and endured such misfortune. But you have been sitting on this throne all your life. What troubles you must receive! Yet you still don't fear the consequence."
Yeah. Behlool criticizes Haroon. One day Behlool was near Haroon. He said, "Oh Behlool, criticize me." Behlool said, "Oh Haroon, if there is no water in the desert, you are attacked by severe thirst and near death. And what would you give for one gulp of refreshing water? 4 dinars. What if the master of the water does not agree to give water for dinars? Then what will you give? I will give half of my kingdom. After drinking the water, you get that illness in which you cannot urinate. Now, what will you give that one who will cure this illness of yours?" Haroon answered, "The remaining half of my kingdom." Behlool said, "Then do not give importance to this kingdom, for it is not worth more than a drink of water. Isn't it proper that you do good with Allah's creations?"
Haroon asks Baloo a question. One day Haroon was intoxicated and was sitting in a place on the corner of the river, busy watching the spectacle being made by the water waves. Meanwhile Baloo arrived. Haroon gave a drunken laugh, and then gave Baloo a happy warm welcome, and ordered him to sit down. A little while later Haroon said, "Baloo, today I am going to ask you a matter. If you give the right answer, I will give you 1,000 dinars. If you can't answer, I will give the order to throw you from this palace into the river."
Behlool said, "I don't have any need for the dinars, but I will accept your offer on one condition." Haroon accepted, so Behlool said, "If I correctly answer your question, then you must free 100 friends of mine that are in your prison. If I do not answer correctly, you have the right to throw me in the river."
So Haroon asked, "If I have one goat, one wolf, and a bundle of grass, and I want to get them one by one from this side to the other side of the river, then in which order should they be taken so that the goat can eat the grass and the wolf can eat the goat?" Baloo replied, "First leave the wolf and take the goat across the river. Then come back and take the grass. Leave it there, but bring the goat back. Now leave the goat here and take the wolf to the other side. Leave it there. Come back alone, then take the goat. This way, one by one, they can all be safely taken across the river. Neither will the goat eat the grass, nor will the wolf eat the goat."
Haroon exclaimed, "Bravo! You gave the correct answer." Then Behlool told the names of his 100 friends, who were all believers of the holy Imam. Salam. The scribe wrote these names down, but when Haroon received the list, saw and recognized the names, he broke his promise. Later, after listening to Behlool again, he only freed and forgave 10 people.